She lay still on the cold metal floor, her arms tightly bound, her body bruised, and her heart racing with fear. The alien woman had been captured just hours ago, her small shuttle shot down by Earth's patrol ships. She had heard the stories. Humans were brutal to prisoners, especially to her kind. She believed death would come soon. The room was silent, lit by a dim overhead light. She listened closely to every sound outside the door, waiting for heavy boots and harsh voices. Her name was not spoken. No one had hurt her yet, but fear still wrapped around her like a second skin. She was from a distant star system. Her people had once fought against Earth's expansion. Many died. Many were taken. She had always trained to avoid humans, never to speak with them. She believed they hated her kind. That's what the stories said. Suddenly the door slid open with a soft hiss. Her heart jumped. She pulled herself tighter into the corner, bracing herself. A human stepped inside. He wore a plain uniform, no weapons in sight. His face was calm, not angry. He didn't rush toward her or shout. He knelt down slowly, leaving space between them. He placed a small container on the floor. Food. Simple. Earth food, warm and fresh. He pushed it gently toward her without speaking. She stared at it, confused. Was this a trick? He didn't force her. He didn't touch her. He just sat there silent, watching her with tired but kind eyes. After a minute, he stood up and left without saying a word. She waited. Nothing happened. She looked at the food. It smelled strange, but not bad. She was hungry. Slowly, with shaking hands, she pulled the container closer and tasted it. It was soft, warm, and safe. The next day, he returned again. This time, he brought a blanket. Again, he said nothing. He simply placed it beside her and walked out. She looked at the blanket, unsure. But when the night became cold, she used it. It smelled clean. It brought her some comfort. For days, the same human came to her room. He brought food, water, and sometimes sat nearby. He didn't try to talk at first, he just watched her quietly. His presence felt strange, but not frightening. One day, she whispered something in her own language. She didn't mean to. Just a small word. Why? He looked at her with surprise. Then, slowly, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small translator device. He placed it on the floor between them and pressed a button. His voice came through it, soft and careful. "I'm not here to hurt you." Her eyes widened. "You're a prisoner," he continued. "But we don't treat prisoners badly. You're safe here." She didn't believe him, not fully. But his voice didn't carry hate. It carried something else, something new. Kindness. She stayed quiet. But that night, when the door opened and he placed the food down, she looked him in the eyes. She didn't hide in the corner. She didn't flinch. For the first time since her capture, she felt something other than fear. She felt a question rising inside her. Could this human be different? The days passed slowly in the small room. The alien woman stayed quiet, but she no longer looked at the human with fear. She watched him when he entered. He always brought food, water, and sometimes warm cloths. She still didn't speak much, but her eyes no longer hid in the shadows. Then came the night her body failed her. A sharp pain ran through her side. Her wounds, ones she had hidden when captured, had not healed. She had lost too much blood back then. Now the pain returned, worse than before. She curled up on the floor, biting her lip to stay silent, but a soft cry escaped her lips. The door opened moments later. It was him again, the human, the one with calm eyes and quiet steps. She tried to sit up, but her body shook. Sweat covered her skin. Her breath came fast and uneven. He saw everything, without a word. He dropped to one knee beside her. He opened a small medical kit and pulled out tools and a cloth. She flinched as he reached toward her. This is it, she thought. Now comes the real pain. But the pain didn't come. Instead, his hand touched her arm gently. His skin was warm. His voice was soft. "Let me help." He didn't force her. He waited. She looked at him, her eyes wide and filled with confusion. Why wasn't he angry? Why did he care? Slowly, she gave a small nod. He opened her tunic slightly, enough to clean the wound. It had turned red and swollen. He worked with care, cleaning it with a cool liquid. It stung, but his hands were steady and slow. He wrapped the wound tightly with soft bandages. When he was done, he looked into her eyes again. "You'll be okay," he said. She didn't answer, but her heart felt something strange. She had prepared for pain. Instead, she felt comfort. She had waited for violence. Instead, she felt safety. He stayed with her longer that night. He sat nearby while she lay on the floor, breathing slower, feeling a little less pain. Before he left, he placed a small device beside her. "If you need help again, press this." She held the device in her hand, unsure what to think. After he left, she looked at the bandage. It was neat, clean, and warm from his touch. She whispered, to herself in her own language, "Why does he care?" That night, she didn't feel like a prisoner. She didn't feel like a soldier. She felt human, not in body, but in experience. Someone had cared for her. Someone had seen her pain and chosen kindness. In the silence, she stared at the ceiling, her fingers resting on the call button. She didn't press it, she didn't need to. The pain had faded just a little, but inside her something else had begun. A soft change, a quiet shift, trust. The next morning, the alien woman woke up feeling a little stronger. The pain in her side was still there, but it was no longer sharp. The bandage was clean, wrapped carefully. She touched it gently and remembered his hands. Steady, warm, careful. When the door opened again, he entered as usual. This time he carried not only food but a small device that looked like a screen. He sat down at a safe distance and placed the screen on the floor between them. He smiled, just a little. "I want to talk," he said. She stared at him without speaking. "I know you don't trust me yet," he added, tapping the screen. The device lit up, translating his words into her language. She blinked in surprise. It was a clear voice in her tongue, soft and without threat. Her hands slowly moved to pick up the screen. She hesitated. Then her voice came out, dry and quiet. "Why are you doing this?" The human looked at her, his expression thoughtful. "Because you're not my enemy anymore. You're just someone who needs help." His words didn't match what she had been taught. Her people believed humans were cold and full of hate. But this one, he didn't shout. He didn't hurt her. He brought food, warmth, healing. And now, he wanted to talk. She looked into his eyes and asked, "Do you hate me?" He shook his head slowly. "No, I never did." The room went quiet. She didn't know how to reply. Her whole life, she was trained to see humans as a threat. But now, one was sitting in front of her, trying to understand her, not hurt her. He tried to teach her a few words in English. She tried repeating them. Her accent was strange to him and his words were strange to her, but they both laughed, softly at each other's mistakes. The sound of her own laugh surprised her. It had been so long. She asked, "Do you have family?" He nodded. "A sister lives far away. I used to write to her every week." "Why did you stop?" He paused. "War. Duty. I forgot how to feel normal." She looked at him for a long time. "I forgot too," she whispered. They sat together longer than usual that day, passing words back and forth through the screen, learning little things. He showed her a small photo of a blue sky, green fields, and tall trees. Earth looked so alive. She showed him a small image stored on her bracelet, her homeworld's silver lakes under a purple sky. He smiled. "Beautiful," he said. So many things separated them: planets, war, history. And yet here they were, two people, talking like old friends. When he stood up to leave, she spoke softly. "What is your name?" He turned, surprised by her question. "Daniel," he replied. She nodded slowly. "My name is Saari." Daniel smiled. "It's good to finally know." The door closed behind him, but Saari felt something new in her chest. Not fear, not pain, hope. Saari now waited for the door to open each day, not in fear, but in quiet curiosity. Daniel always came at the same time, always with food, sometimes with stories. They no longer needed the translator every moment. She had started to understand his words. He had also learned how to say a few things in her language, even if it made her laugh sometimes. They were different in every way, but something invisible had formed between them, a thread of trust. One day Daniel walked in with a serious look on his face. He didn't bring food or his usual small smile. He sat down slowly, looking tired. "What happened?" Saari asked, sitting up. "There's a message," he said quietly. "From your side." She froze. "From my people?" Daniel nodded. "They want you back. A trade. You for one of our captured officers." Saari lowered her eyes. A trade? That meant she wasn't special to them. She was just a piece to move on the board. Daniel hesitated. "There's something else. They sent a private message. It said you're a traitor for not escaping. They said if we don't hand you over, they'll come for you and punish you themselves." Saari's chest tightened. "They think I betrayed them." "I don't," Daniel said firmly. She looked up at him, eyes wide. "You didn't give up. You survived. That's not betrayal." Saari didn't speak for a while. Her thoughts were loud. Her own leaders saw her as weak. But here was a human, a soldier from the other side, who saw her strength. "Will your people return me?" she asked. Daniel was quiet. "We don't treat prisoners like that," he said finally. "But the council is debating. Some say we should send you back. Others say it's not safe." She nodded slowly. "Maybe I should go." Daniel shook his head. "No, you don't belong in a place where they want to punish you for surviving." He stood and walked to the door, then paused. "Do you want to stay here?" Saari looked around the small room. It wasn't home, but Daniel's kindness had made it feel safer than any place she'd been in months. "I don't know," she whispered. "But I don't want to go back to people who don't care if I live or die." He gave a soft nod. "Then we'll find another way." For the first time, Saari believed him. Later that night, she sat alone, thinking of everything. The war, the lies, the pain, and then Daniel's voice, calm and real, saying, "You're not my enemy anymore." Maybe humans weren't the monsters she had imagined. Maybe kindness wasn't limited to one world. She stood, walked to the wall where the photo of Earth's green fields hung, and placed her hand over it. "I want to learn more," she whispered. "Not just about Earth, but about peace." The base was quiet that evening, more than usual. Saari noticed something strange in the way the guards walked outside her room. Their steps were faster, their voices were low and serious. Something was wrong. When Daniel came in, he didn't smile. He locked the door behind him and walked over quickly. "We have a problem," he said. Saari stood up. "What happened?" "Your people didn't wait for the council's answer. A warship entered our space. They attacked one of our outer stations. They're not here to rescue you. They're here to silence you." Saari's heart dropped. "They want to destroy the base?" Daniel nodded. "Yes. They don't want you to talk to us anymore. They think you've seen too much. Learned too much. They fear peace." Saari felt cold inside. Her own people, her leaders wanted her gone. Not because she was a threat, but because she was beginning to understand another way. Daniel leaned closer. "We have to move you. If they find you, they'll take you or kill you. And they won't care who gets in their way." "Where will we go?" she asked. "There's a hidden tunnel beneath the base. It was built for emergencies. I'll take you there tonight." She looked at him, confused. "Why are you risking this for me?" He paused. Then quietly he answered, "Because you're not the enemy. Not anymore. You're someone who deserves a chance to live." The light suddenly flickered. A low alarm began to ring through the walls. "They're here," Daniel whispered. He grabbed her hand. She didn't pull away. "Let's go." They moved fast through the back corridors of the base. The halls were dim, filled with red lights. Explosions shook the ground beneath their feet. Soldiers ran in all directions. No one stopped them, too busy defending the base. Sari ran beside Daniel, her heart pounding, not with fear of him, but with fear of what was coming from the sky. They reached a metal hatch. Daniel opened it and helped her down the ladder. The tunnel below was dark and narrow, but it was safe, for now. They moved through the passage, step by step. In the distance, the sounds of battle echoed above them. Suddenly, they heard a crash behind. A group of her own soldiers had found the tunnel. "They're coming," Daniel said. They ran. But Sari stumbled, her side still hurt from the old wound. She fell to her knees. Daniel turned back immediately. He grabbed her arm and lifted her. "Leave me," she gasped. "You'll be caught." "I'm not leaving you," he said firmly. Together they pushed forward, breathless and tired. Finally they reached a door at the far end. Daniel opened it and guided her into a small room filled with emergency supplies and a communication unit. "We'll call for help from here," he said. Sari sat down, holding her side. Daniel knelt in front of her. "You're safe, we made it." She looked at him, eyes filled with pain and confusion. "I never thought a human would risk his life for me." Daniel smiled gently. "Maybe your people never gave us the chance to show who we really are." In that dark, quiet room, Sari realized something powerful. Sometimes the real enemy is not the one holding the weapon. It's the voice that tells you to hate. The room shook again as another explosion rocked the base above. Dust fell from the ceiling. Sari held her breath while Daniel checked the small emergency communicator in the corner. The signal light blinked red. It was still trying to connect. "We don't have much time," he said. Sari leaned against the wall, her side burning with pain. Her body was tired, but her heart was still strong. She had made it this far, because of him. "You should go," she said softly. "They're not after you." Daniel looked at her sharply. "I'm not leaving you. They'll kill you if they find you with me." "I don't care." His voice was steady. Honest. She didn't understand it. Why would a human risk his life again and again for someone like her? She was just a captured alien, a former enemy. Her own people had turned their backs. But Daniel, he stayed. "I don't want you to die," she said. "Then don't ask me to leave." There was silence between them, not empty but heavy with meaning. She looked at him with wide, tired eyes. "Why?" she whispered. He moved closer and placed a hand gently over hers. "Because I believe in peace, and I believe in you." Those words broke through the wall around her heart. She didn't reply with words. She just held his hand tighter. Suddenly, the signal on the communicator turned green. A voice came through, crackling but clear. "Emergency team is near your location. Hold position. Extraction in 5 minutes." Daniel let out a breath. They're coming. But their relief didn't last long. The sound of heavy footsteps echoed in the tunnel outside. Sari's heart jumped. The enemy soldiers, her own people, had tracked them again. Daniel grabbed a small metal rod from the wall and moved in front of her. "No," she cried. "You can't fight them alone. I won't let them take you." His back was straight, his eyes calm. He looked like a soldier, but not one driven by hate. He was protecting someone he cared about. The door burst open, and 2 figures stormed inside, weapons raised. Sari didn't think. She threw herself forward, pushing Daniel aside. A sharp pain hit her shoulder as a stun blast struck her. She collapsed with a cry. Daniel rushed to her, holding her tightly. The attackers were quickly taken down by a second team entering from the other side. The rescue unit had arrived just in time. "Target secured," a human soldier said. "Let's get out of here." Daniel lifted Sari carefully in his arms. Her eyes were half closed, but she was still awake. "You didn't let me die," she whispered. He smiled. "You didn't let me die either." As the rescue team moved through the safe route, Daniel held her close. She was hurt, but alive. And something had changed in both of them. Not just survival, but a bond. One built not from war, but from courage, care, and quiet promises made in the fire. The rescue ship flew smoothly through the sky, far from the battle zone. Inside the medical bay, Sari lay on a soft bed, wrapped in clean blankets. Her shoulder was bandaged, her body tired, but her eyes were open and calm. Daniel sat beside her, watching her quietly. He hadn't left her side since the mission ended. A human doctor had treated her wounds, carefully and respectfully. No one called her a prisoner anymore. No one looked at her with hate. She was not a threat. She was a survivor. Sari turned her head toward Daniel. "You stayed." He smiled a little. "Of course. I thought your people would be angry. Some were, some still don't trust you," he said honestly. "But others saw what I saw. You're not the enemy. You chose peace." Sari nodded. "I chose you." Daniel blinked. "What do you mean?" "You showed me a different path. You gave me food when I was hungry, warmth when I was cold, and kindness when I expected pain." He looked down, his voice soft. "I just did what was right." She smiled. "And sometimes doing what's right changes everything." The ship reached a quiet city on Earth, a peaceful zone where talks between species were held. It wasn't a prison. It wasn't a battlefield. It was a place for healing and new beginnings. Sari was given a choice: return to her people, who still saw her as a traitor, or stay. She chose to stay. Over time, she joined the Earth Council as a peaceful speaker. Her knowledge of her people's culture helped stop more battles before they began. She helped translate, explain, and build bridges between former enemies, and always Daniel was nearby. He had left the front lines and taken a role as her protector and guide. They worked together, not as soldier and captive, but as friends, and something deeper. One evening, Sari stood in a green earth garden under a sky full of stars. Daniel walked beside her, both silent for a while. She turned to him. "Do you remember when I was afraid of you?" He nodded. "You were shaking. You thought I was going to hurt you. But you touched my arm. Gently. I just wanted to help. And that moment changed everything," she said softly. "You didn't fight me. You didn't shout. You just showed kindness. That's the strongest thing in the universe." Daniel looked at her, eyes steady. "You were never the enemy, Sari. You were just someone who needed a chance." She stepped closer. "And now I want to help others the way you helped me." From that day on, she became a voice of hope for both sides. Some still hated, some still feared, but many listened. And as more people listened, the war began to fade. Peace wasn't easy. It wasn't fast, but it had started, with a soft voice, a gentle hand, and two people who refused to see each other as enemies. And whenever anyone asked Sari why she stayed with the humans, she always gave the same answer: "Because I was ready to die." But instead I felt a gentle touch,